Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to One Cast Fishing. I'm going to do a quick video for you guys today. It's how to set up your bait caster. I've been asked this question recently on TikTok and Instagram Reels. I just did a short form video on TikTok, but I want to do a little longer video explaining how I set up my bait caster, either when it's brand new, when I was first learning, or whenever I put a new bait on. It's a different weight. So if you guys are experienced with this, you don't need to watch it. If you want to, you can, but if you're new to fishing or if you've never fished a bait caster, you might be able to get some out of this. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about how to set up your bait caster. Let's get into it. The first thing you want to do before you set up your bait caster is obviously tie on whatever lure that you want to dial it into. This is a 3/8 ounce, one of our bladed jigs, Carolina blue shell. That's just a Kitech little swim bait on the back. And then you got to get your reel. Now this is Lew's MP Speed Spool. Pretty good reel. I really like this reel. It's obviously my chatterbait reel. But all reels are going to have a tension control knob. Now it's going to be on the right side here if you have a right-handed reel. On a left-handed reel, it's going to be on the opposite side, left side, but right by the reel handle. Take that tension control knob right here, turn that clockwise until it's pretty much tight, like you can barely move it anymore. That's going to put a lot of tension on this spool right here. Next thing you got to do, reel your bait up to about 1 foot or 18 inches below the tip of the rod. So what you do is when you engage the spool here, or disengage the spool, your bait's not gonna move. It's not gonna drop at all. And I'll step back and show you guys. I'll have to put my rod down a little bit. Just hit the button, that bait's not falling down. It's still right there, top of the camera. And I'll keep the reel open, and obviously my bait's not moving at all. At this point, what you need to do is make sure you press the button, disengage the spool there, and I want you to slowly start backing that off and turn this tension control knob counterclockwise. And your bait should begin falling, nice and gently. And when it hits the ground, as it just did right there, or hits the water, there should be no overruns or backlash. It's best to do this at a 40, put your rod at about 45 degrees. So I'll step back and show you guys the way it looks like. Just engage the spool. You can see my bait coming down slowly, nice and gentle. Actually gotta back it off just a hair more here. Nice and gentle all the way down. No overruns, and that's what you want. That is ideal. I'll show you guys here. I'll flip it around and show you guys. Slight gust of wind there, but show you from this angle. There's my reel. My bait's up there, but roughly 45 degrees. Gauge that spool. My bait is slowly falling. You can barely see it. Drops in the water. There's no overrun right there. That's exactly what you want. That's the perfect way to dial it in. So from there, I want you to go over to your brakes. Now there's two sets of brakes. There's magnetic brakes and centrifugal brakes. This has magnetic brakes on, so there's a dial on the outside here. And you guys can see that pretty well. Let's see if the numbers will focus. Your magnetic brakes may have numbers from 1 to 10, 1 to 6. It may not have any numbers, it just say max or min. But what I want you to do is basically set your brakes to 3/4 of the way on. So on here, because it's 0 to 8, I'm going to turn it to, let's do about 5.5 or 6. So, there, 5.5, right? And that's what you want to set on the begin casting. Talk about the centrifugal brakes in a second. Hang on, fighting the wind all. Man, these wind gusts are inconsistent, so I got to keep stopping and refilm them. But we've got the tension control knob tight. We've set our brakes to 3/4 of the way. Now what you got to do is make a cast. So, right, disengage the spool. Make your cast. As that bait is about to hit the water, put your thumb on the spool and you won't have a backlash. Now that is the easiest way, right? The simplest way to dial in your bait caster. And it's what I would recommend if you're new to bait casting. And then if you're new, it's just going to take multiple and hundreds of casts to get used to it so you don't get those overruns all the time. As you begin to get more and more comfortable, you can back these brakes off here. I like to run them almost fully open, right? This is about a 1 right now, 1 or 2, I think. And I will actually back my tension control knob off a little ways. And by doing that, you can get a lot further cast. But that's when you get practice and thumb control to be able to stop that bait as it hits the water. There's some scenarios you may want your tension control knob really loose, and that would be for pitching. Did a video on that a long time ago, but it's much easier to pitch and have that line come off in a pendulum if you turn that tension control knob a lot looser. But for regular casting, getting new to bait casting, just keep it as that gently falls down. I mentioned it earlier when I talked about adjusting your brakes. The ones that have the dials on the outside, they're typically magnetic brakes. Some of your bait casters, and as you get higher and higher in, won't have that. They'll have centrifugal brakes. This is a loose BB1. It's my cranking rod, as you can see with the big crankbait on here. But there's no dial on the outside. You can't adjust the brakes from the outside. To adjust these reels with no dial on the outside, the centrifugal brakes, you got to take off the B side plate here. And if you look there, there's several pins in there. They go in and out, in and out. You push them in and push them out and turn them on and off. Now each manufacturer is a little different with the number of pins in there. I think I've got half mine on, half mine off, so 3 and 3 there. So each one's a little different. Just leave your manufacturer settings to be able to do that. If you're just getting used to it and you're using centrifugal braking system, I would put 3/4 of your weights brakes on. So if you got 4 brakes in there, turn 3 on till you get used to casting. I usually keep mine at 2, even though I've got quite a bit of experience casting. The centrifugal braking systems are a little bit more forgiving. You can change your lure weights and not have to make as many minute adjustments. There's obviously downsides though, because you can't make those minute adjustments. So there's a trade-off there, right? But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little quick video. It's a question I've had and I wanted to get answered, and I definitely appreciate you guys watching. So make sure you should like and subscribe, and I'll be getting more content to you. Remember, a line goes one cast away.